My name is Nicole. My course is Psychology in Education, and I've just finished my third year.
Would you like to mention your hometown?
So my hometown is London, born and raised.
So, could you tell us about your YouTube channel?
So my channel name is Nicole Veronica, and I speak mainly about school, uni, a bit of fashion and beauty and lifestyle.
Okay, so could you remind us of the course you're taking?
So I'm studying Psychology in Education. I graduate next month.
So, why did you choose your course?
So I initially wanted to choose psychology because I'd been fascinated by the subject for quite a few years after doing it for A level, but I was worried about doing psychology and then maybe getting bored along the way. Now, with this course at Bristol, it meant that I could do other disciplines such as education, a bit of sociology, philosophy, as well as that I had the opportunity to do a placement in my second year. And I think only I think this was the only course in the country that allowed me to do a placement alongside studying. And I really wanted to get the chance to experience sort of like a workplace setting while studying to get a better understanding as to what I want to do when I graduate.
And you said, so obviously you graduate next month, so this is going to be your last year.
Yeah.
So, what have you thought of your course in the last 4 years?
So as the years have gone on, I've enjoyed it more. And I think that's mainly because I got to pick more of the units that I enjoyed and I got to personalise my course more.
Okay, thank you. So, could you tell us, do you come from a college or sixth form background?
Sixth form,
And what did you study at sixth form?
I studied English, lit, sociology, psychology, and photography. I had to think about that one.
So, do you think any of these subjects helped you with your course? Sorry, one second. Okay, so, could you remind us what you took in sixth form?
So I did psychology, sociology, English lit, photography, and biology.
And do you think any of these subjects helped you with your course?
I feel like psychology did in a sense that it gave me that grounding for the course. But what was good is in first year, they basically taught us it's called Intro into Psychology, so everyone got the same teaching. And I find that sociology and English lit really helped me with the essays.
And what do you think the best A-level slash subjects are for your course?
I'd say probably psychology because it allowed me to already have the knowledge of that discipline before coming to university. So I was a lot more confident than some people who hadn't done psychology before and didn't know what they were getting themselves into.
So if we go more into your university, which is,
Bristol.
what are the best and worst things about studying at Bristol University? We'll start off with the worst.
Yeah. So I'd say worst is the hills because it's very hilly and it can be quite tiring getting to lectures. And for my course particularly, we're not centralised in one building, so I have to go all around the campus to get to my lectures, which can be a bit tiring. Also, there's quite a high pressure because it is quite a prestigious university. You kind of feel the pressure, and sometimes it does feel quite an intense learning environment, but then also that can be quite positive as well because then it kind of motivates you to want to study as well.
So if we go into the best things about studying at Bristol University.
I'd say the research. So because it is a Russell group, you've got a lot of people who are top in their game in their field, and what's inspiring is a lot of the stuff that we'll learn to do, like our coursework, for example, the lecturers will be teaching us as well as like them doing the research as well. For example, there's this program, I don't know if you've heard of Secret Life of a 5-Year-Old, that was on Channel 4 or
Oh,
Channel 5, I think it was. The guy who created that was one of our lecturers, and I had to do like a lab report on it, and it's just really exciting to feel like you're involved in their research.
okay. So if we go into the last 4 years of your life at Bristol when it comes to accommodation, where did you live in your first year?
So in my first year, I lived in a halls called Durham, and it was self-catered ensuite. And it was in Bristol. You've got the city centre accommodation, which is within the campus, and then Stoke Bishop, which is where I was, which was a 20-minute bus ride away from the campus, and that's where I was.
What do you think of living about there?
I really liked it. I liked the fact that there was other accommodation there. So it's kind of like a little student village. There was about, I think, 6 or 7 other halls. So I could go visit my friends and just kind of like walk around the little village to find other friends and stuff, which was quite good. And also the bus goes straight into it's like a bus stop right outside my halls. So it wasn't too much of an issue that it wasn't close. And also it was very social. For first year, that's kind of what I liked. Like it was quite sociable.
So if we go into your second year, where did you live in an accommodation or did you move to a house?
I moved to a house. So in my second year, I moved to a house of 6, and we moved a little bit closer into an area which we knew quite a lot of second years would go. So it was good. A lot of our friends were there, and we had friends that were opposite us, behind us, all in our area, which was quite fun.
And what do you think about obviously living in the transition from a house from a student calls to a house?
It was very different, and sort of like no one really prepares you for it, because in first year, for my halls particularly, everything was included in the cost. So you just had to pay a monthly rent, but in that there was the water bill, everything was included. And then when you get to your house, you have to sort out bills, water, Wi-Fi. Like we had to all sort that out, and we had to make sure that like everyone was doing the bills, make sure we pay who's doing what. And it was definitely a lot more responsibility, and you had to think about things a lot more.
And your third year?
In my third year, I moved into again sort of like um, quite accommodation, but it was like with an estate agent. But I moved into a flat, and again there were 6 of us, but I was right in the heart of the city, which I really liked, because I was literally 5-10 minute walking distance from everything. And in my first and second year, I didn't like how far I was from everything, and I just waste a lot of money on Ubers and buses, whereas in my final year I was just close to everything, which was really convenient.
So what in the area obviously of Bristol, what do you think the best university accommodation is for price?
For price, so in my area, so I think it all depends for like where you want to be, but for where I was in the student village, there's this accommodation called university halls, and it's significantly cheaper than all of the halls in Stoke Bishop. And if I didn't realise that university halls was in Stoke Bishop, because I wanted to be in Stoke Bishop. So if I knew that it was there, I probably would have picked it, because you're basically getting the same, but it's just like a little bit smaller, and it's a lot cheaper as well. But then there is city centre halls, which are significantly cheaper. So I think it kind of just varies like how far you want to be, and like if you want an ensuite or not. But I'm kind of happy with my halls because I did get an ensuite, and that was something that I really wanted.
Okay, so now if we go into the Bristol area, could you tell us about the Bristol nightlife?
Yeah, so the Bristol nightlife is really good. It lives up to what people say it is, and as much as like we don't like to say, like one of the reasons I did go is because I did hear a good reputation about Bristol, and I wanted the whole package. I wanted somewhere where I could study, somewhere where I could live, as well as somewhere where I could get that university experience per se. And I like how Bristol have literally, I don't even think I can think off the top of my head the amount of clubs and like bars and pubs we have. But I find it's good because it caters for everyone. So it's like whether you just want to have a couple pints and go home, or you actually want to go to a club or an event. There's so many different types of music. There's hidden bars, there's like secret bars, there's so many different spoons and pubs. So I find for university life, it's perfect and you can't really go wrong.
And what about in the Bristol area? You said you're from London, so London's like very city orientated. So would you say you get the same amount of shops that you get in London in Bristol, or would you say it's less or more?
So I always compare Bristol and London. I say Bristol is like a mini London. So Bristol's very compact, whereas London, to get from A to B, you'll have to get like a bus or a tube. Whereas Bristol, you can literally walk, and on the same road, there's a pub, there's a cinema, there's so much, there's like a Sainsbury's. So I definitely prefer Bristol in a sense that it's everything's sort of closer, but it does really feel like London because there is a lot going on.
And if we go into the food, is there a lot of variety or good variety of food, or is it your basics like Nando's, Domino's, and McDonald's?
So there's such variety of different types of food and cuisine, and there's from like the sort of like mainstream like Nando's and Five Guys, but then you've also got really small local independent sort of restaurants and cafes, which is really nice, and it's good for veganism. It's actually voted #1 city in the country for veganism because they have loads of different sort of like stalls. They have food festivals as well. There's literally so many different types of food places. I haven't even tried half of them, and I've been there for 3 years now.
Just to go back to the nightclub question, what is the nightclub to go to in Bristol for personally for yourself? You would say.
Um, so for like all my best times have been in this club called Lakota, but I think they're closing it down. But that I've had like all the best times, and it's kind of like far out. It's more further out, and a lot of people who go to University of West England go to that club because it's sort of like nearer their campus. But I just find it's always so much fun. But more into sort of like the centre of Bristol, there's a club called Gravity, which a lot of people do go to because there's sports night there, or Lizard Lounge. It's called the Lounge. I think they've like changed it, but I think I definitely say Lakota is my favourite club. Lakota or Motion.
So, what advice would you give to first years starting university in general? So, general advice for first years starting university.
I'd say be open to people, to meeting new people, to trying new experiences, because I don't think at any other point in your life you're going to meet so many different people, you're going to try so many different things. University is literally, I think, that one time where you should, if anything, if you're someone who's reluctant to be open to these kind of things, you should really be open. I also say sort of be patient and non-judgmental, because people are really different, and a lot of people, like, universities are international, and you'll meet a lot of people that have been brought up very differently, and they may not have the same sort of customs as you. So I think it's best to sort of be non-judgmental and, if anything, patient. And I'd say, last thing, definitely make the most of the experience. Everyone I know who's like gone through uni has always said like they want everyone who's a fresher, everyone who's a first year, to literally take all opportunities and grab them with both hands.
And what advice would you give to students starting Bristol in their first year?
I'd probably say the same. I'd say, I think for Bristol specifically, I'd say be yourself, because a lot of people in first year, well, I guess it's not just Bristol specific, but a lot of people try to be someone they're not. And as time goes on, the cracks start to show. And I think if you just remain being true to yourself, even if you may struggle finding friends in the beginning, your true friends do come in the end, and you'll find your people.
And lastly, what advice would you give to someone starting your course in their first year?
Michael's. Um, I would say, I'd say, hmm, do the readings because they help, especially if you haven't done psychology before. And also to try your best, because I found, particularly for my course, a lot of the lecturers, because my year was the first year to do this course, so we were the first cohort, and as years were going on, they were perfecting the course. But I know the lecturers are really keen for us to do well, and they've even said that. And I just think if you sort of try and you put in the effort, as well as like asking them for help, you'll do well.
Okay. So while at university in your last 4 years, did you have any jobs?
Of 3 years, I was at uni for
Oh,
3 years.
three. So you didn't take a placement year, or did it?
So my placement, it was integrated. So in my second year, I did work. I worked in my placement, but it was once a week alongside studying.
And what did you think about doing that while at your course? While doing your course?
I absolutely loved it. So I had my placement on a Wednesday, and it meant that I'd have lectures on the Monday, and then I'd have placement, and it was like a nice way to break up the week, because it was something different, but then I could come back. And I also wasn't, if I took a year out, I feel like I'd be missing out on being with my friends, and there'd be the stress of finding a house after. But it just meant that I was still in Bristol, but I got to experience doing a work placement alongside studying, and I really liked it.
Okay. So going back to the question about, did you have any jobs except for obviously your second year placement while at university?
Yeah, so I worked in a hospitality agency, so doing events like music festivals. There's the stadium in Bristol, so there was like, for example, like the rugby matches. I'd be waiting for tables and drinks like that and stuff like that. Also, I worked with the uni, so I'd do some stewarding jobs sometimes if there was an open day, and as well as I did tutoring as well. So just like flexible jobs where I could
Wow.
work it around my timetable.
Are there a lot of jobs at Bristol University?
Yeah, so I found we have a careers portal called My Careers, and if you go on, they've got specifically jobs for us if we wanted to apply in internships, and they really do sort of like try to make sure that we know that there are jobs for us to get if we wanted to work alongside our studies or post graduation.
And did you join any societies in your last 3 years?
Yeah, so I've joined quite a few societies. So I've done cheer, dance, musical theatre, gymnastics, trampolining, music. Um, I did this society where it was called Make a Smile, and we basically raised money for charities, and then we get costumes and we go to children's hospitals or schools and we like put on parties for them. So like I've done all different societies. I really did make make use of the societies that were there.
And can you tell us about Bristol Freshers?
As in Freshers Week.
Freshers Week, yeah. Your Bristol Freshers Week.
Yeah, so before coming to uni, I thought that Freshers Week was basically like a party, like the whole week would just be partying and stuff. But it was very much introductory. I had quite a few lectures, but they were all kind of like welcome to Bristol and sort of like helping us to find our feet. There was also welcome events, which was quite useful. We had a lot of talks as well. Like we had this massive talk for Stoke Bishop, the area where my halls were, and they literally put hundreds of us in this hall and basically gave us this talk and was basically just letting us know about uni and everything. But it was quite busy actually, and then we had the freshers fair as well.
Okay. So but you chose university over an apprenticeship plus going right into work. What path did you to make this choice?
So I kind of always knew that I wanted to go university after doing my A levels, because that kind of seemed like that was the step I should take for in order for me to go down the psychological route and or potentially into research. And I can't become a psychologist, for example, without a degree. So I kind of was like, this is the path I have to take. Um, so I knew that was the sensible thing if I wanted to become a psychologist.
Okay. So can you tell us more about your YouTube channel, who you are again, what kind of videos you post, and what your objective is?
Yeah, so my YouTube channel is basically I've got a bit of beauty and fashion. I literally did a cooking video the other day because I'm in quarantine. I'm like, I might as well make the most of my time. But it's mainly about university and school. I touch on A-level subjects and also my Bristol experience, because I really want to give a student-led perspective of the university experience from a first-hand experience, because there's a lot of the time you'll read reviews and you'll read sort of things about a course, for example, or accommodation, but a lot of the time it's written by admissions or older people who've never even been to Bristol or never even been to the university. So I think when like my viewers or people watching my channel actually hear it from my mouth and they know like, oh, this person's lived it, it's almost like encouraging to hear someone else say it and to know more about, for example, Bristol or my university.
Okay. So at this point, we let students kind of have like a free for all, I like to call it, where you can say what you want and you can shout obviously your YouTube, your Instagrams, your Facebooks, your LinkedIn's. Just you could give a piece of advice. You could say obviously you can show your acts and then we could finish it there, or you could say, like I said, a bit of advice or anything you want to say. Literally, the floor is yours.
Thank you. I'd say for any of those who are interested, follow my channel at Nicole Veronica on YouTube. I'll be posting more consistent content about uni or anything really. I find that a lot of people have been commenting down below. For example, I've done a first year review of Bristol and someone was like, can you do a hair routine? So I might do a bit of fun things. I do like hair and beauty as well, so I might do a bit of everything, just kind of what people want. And my Instagram is Nicole_Veronica_. I also have a blog which I'll send you the link, of kind of like what I speak about with like uni and advice and things like that. And I'd say a piece of advice, just definitely make the most of every opportunity. So at university, in life, and also this is particularly something that I've been doing, and it's kind of made me overcome my anxiety with YouTube. If you want to do something, you should just do it. And as long as it doesn't upset anyone, doesn't offend anyone, if you enjoy something, you should just go for it. And that's really what I've been doing with my YouTube. I've just been putting it out there, trying to help people. I enjoy it. And if that's something that people want to do, you want to do, then you should just definitely go for it.
So if you want to end the video saying, don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'm plugged in.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and I'm plugged in.
Perfect. Thank you.